Hello, and welcome back to another monthly TBR jar pull. This is a video I'm so excited about because this is only the second time that I pull from my TBR jar. I feel like it just adds an extra excitement and spark and like mystery to whatever the hell I'm gonna read for the next month. I do also want to go over the books that I ended up reading in September. Did I read all the books that I pulled from last month? If you watch that video, we shall find out. We do still have another week left in September, so I'm still finishing my TBR and hoping to get some other books in. So we'll have a chat about that as well. If you are new here, welcome. I'm Taylor. I do a lot of lifestyle content that ranges from productivity to self-care and book content. I try and really keep it categorized into those three things. However, if you're here for book content, trust me, it is in every single vlog that I post, whether it's productivity or self-care. I am almost to 1K subscribers. I am so grateful for currently all 946 of you who are here. It means everything to me from the bottom of my heart. If you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you here. But without further ado, let's get into what I read in September. All right, I'll shimmy on over this way so I can share the photo that I took of my final TBR stack last month. I actually ended up cheating a little bit and reading Phantom at the end of August, and I really enjoyed it. It was my first H.D. Carlton book. I'm also super new to dark romance, so I really wasn't sure how I was going to like it. Is it for me? Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. There has been some dark romances that are just kind of really not for me, and I know that's going to be the case for everything, every genre, of course, but I kind of was like, is dark romance just not for me? However, I really did love this one. I do want to read more H.D. Carlton, but I do hear that the books get darker and darker, and I do have one really just like non-negotiable trigger. If it's alluded to, it's okay, but if it's like descriptive on the page or just like a constant running theme, I find that it just doesn't sit well with me. So I don't know. I hear mixed things about whether or not to continue. If you are a big H.D. Carlton fan and you think that I should, let me know, because I did really enjoy Phantom. I will say that if you want to read Phantom and you start reading the book and you find that it just reads a little bit cheesy, do remember that this book takes place during a very different time frame. This is a mafia romance from 1944. So times were just very different then. So I always think of it like when you watch Captain America, right? Like, it's kind of like a cheesy film. He's cheesy, the lines are delivered cheesy, but that's kind of what it's meant to be, and that is what it was, and what I feel like it's just super realistic of the culture then. And so keeping that in mind, I do recommend listening to the audiobook and doing an immersive read, because the audiobook was so good. The narrator of the male main character was absolutely delicious. Like, I cannot recommend that enough. So if you want to give it a chance, I do recommend doing the immersive read. And to no surprise, I did add some books that were not on my TBR stack, that were not pulled from my TBR jar, and one of them was a novella by Bryn Weaver called Love and Other Killers. I did not even know that this novella was out. I saw somebody posted about it and I was like, holy crap, I need to read that immediately. I was absolutely obsessed with the Ruinous Love trilogy. If you have not read that, that's Butcher and Blackbird, Leather and Lark, and Scythe and Sparrow. And then they have this little novella, which is Love and Other Killers. And it was so fun to be back in that world, back with those characters that I just love so dearly. Have not read them, I highly recommend. And I feel like they're a super good way to get into dark romance. Similarly, I think people really like Lights Out and Caught Up by Navessa Allen. However, those were the type of dark romance that I just think were not for me, or they just did not hit the way that they hit for everybody else. So kind of like a trial and error, I guess, but the Ruinous Love trilogy is 10 out of 10, so good. I then read Quicksilver. I picked this up and ate it up in 3 days. I was shocked. Also, let me note that from here on forward, I have literally read no books under 500 pages, which is like a lot to just keep doing over and over, because it's really nice to like break things up with a good 350 pager. If you know, you know. But that has not been the month for me. It has been a whole bunch of 500-page books, and honestly, I'm very proud of myself. A few years ago, I never would have thought that I could just sit and eat up a book like Quicksilver in a few sittings, that I would be reading so many of these genres, so many of these different types of books, and I just feel so proud of myself. But Quicksilver was everything and more. Honestly, I don't know why I did not think that I was going to love that book as much as I did. I just hesitated picking it up. I picked it up a few months ago and then put it back down after I read like the first 10-20 pages, and wow, I mean, it came back to me at the right time. I also had the audio checked out through Libby, so I also did an immersive read, and oh my gosh, Kingfisher, his voice, the audio, everything. Again, I'm a big immersive reader. I really love listening to audios. Also, I feel like it just helps me get more reading done because I do work full time and I work from home. So I like to use my time here to try and keep up with things around the house. And I just feel like listening to audiobooks helps me to be able to read more books. If you are a fantasy reader and you haven't read Quicksilver, I really recommend picking it up. The second book is coming out November 25th, I believe, and I cannot wait. I loved side characters in that book that I didn't think that I was going to love. I loved the female main character. I loved the storyline. I never felt like the pacing was off. I never felt like there was so much descriptive world building that it was boring me to death. Yes, guilty. I'm one of those people. I really do just not love over description. I like for there to be just a little bit left to my imagination rather than piecing together such descriptive settings. I feel like it's just not something that I prefer. I know that a lot of fantasy readers don't agree, but that's how I feel. Maybe sometime in the future, as I read more fantasy, that will change, but that's how I feel right now. And I feel like Callie Hart did a really good job at just laying out the story, laying out the background, setting the tone for you, setting the setting, and it all just made sense. And it was a really enjoyable, bingeable read. It's honestly one of my favorite books of the year now, and I'm so excited for the second book. And then I read Fairytale. Oh my gosh, another giant book. I think this one was just shy of 800 pages. This book took me on an entire roller coaster. I was like, okay, started it. Oh my gosh, this is so good. It's broken up into parts. And so the first part, I was really intrigued. I was like, what is going on? Oh my gosh, I have so many questions. What is going to happen? And then the second part, I was like, okay, I need to know what is happening because now I'm just starting to get really just confused and starting to get impatient. However, not so much so that I wanted to stop reading the book or DNF the book. However, I was just ready, and I did take my time with this book. I read it across I think a week and a half or 2 weeks or something. I'm not sure, but I really took my time. And then part 3, everything came together perfect. Again, the audiobook, absolutely get the audiobook. I ended up re-signing up for Audible just to get a credit so that I could purchase it because it was a must. Trust me. Amon's voice is I can still hear it. If I close my eyes, I can still hear his voice. I'm obsessed. The story is so good. This is definitely not something that I would say is an intro into dark romance. This one was a historical fantasy, also very gothic, dark romance. There was definitely some heavy themes in this book, so read your trigger warnings. The one thing that really triggers me was also in this book, and that was the part that I was like, oh my gosh, do I want to continue? What is happening? Everything that I felt about this character, now I'm super confused, but I wrote it out and it was so worth it. If you have been staring at Fairytale or want to read Fairytale, trust me, pick it up. It's so worth it. It is also now one of my favorite reads of the year. I then read Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher, and to no surprise, I loved it. I'm obsessed with T. Kingfisher. I love that woman. I would read her grocery list and be inspired, honestly. That's just how I feel about her. I hope to meet her one day. I think that she is so quirky and so fun, and I just feel like it's just a breath of fresh air in the book space. If you haven't read anything by T. Kingfisher, I always recommend starting with something like Nettle and Bone, A Sorceress Comes to Call, or even Thornhedge. Those ones are really good. My personal favorite is The Seventh Bride, but honestly, she can do no wrong. This book was dark and gothic and loosely inspired by Snow White. There's a magic mirror. There is a quirky cat. There is a really lovable main character, and there is also a little underlying romance, which I was not expecting. That's not in many of the books that I read by her, and that little romance was so cute. I absolutely loved that she added that into this book. If you want something that is also bingeable, that's just a little bit different than what you typically read and what you typically find in the fantasy world, you want something that is kind of dark, kind of twisted, a little bit Tim Burton sprinkled, you're like, where did you come up with these ideas? That is T. Kingfisher. I then read If It Makes You Happy by Julia Olivia. This is another one that was not on my TBR stack. However, it did release in September, and I had pre-ordered it, and I absolutely had to pick it up this month because I was personally so much looking forward to this book because it was marketed as a 90s nostalgic Gilmore Girls meets Harry Met Sally, and I was like, say less, I'm a huge Harry Met Sally fan. While I did not really get the Harry Met Sally vibes in this, I will say that it absolutely was Gilmore Girl coded, Luke and Lorelai coded. The male main character was super golden retriever. The female main character was a little bit tormented like Lorelai. It's set in the 90s, and I will say that that is definitely what just made me feel so much emotions for that book because I was born in 1990. I'm a 90s baby. The entire setting and the ambiance around the holidays, especially Halloween, I could literally feel myself transported back to 1997, 1998, 1999, bringing in New Year's for Y2K. I mean, if you know, you know, and I'm telling you, I had to stop a few times and just be like, oh my gosh, like reminisce on memories. And I just think that that's really special when an author can transport you back to a time in your life. And it was just very nostalgic, very cozy. If you want a guaranteed happy ending and a good nostalgic fall romance set in Vermont, pick up If It Makes You Happy. I will say this book was 500 pages and it definitely did not need to be. So just so you know, this is not your 350 pager contemporary romance. And then very unexpectedly, another one that is not on my TBR that I picked up one night when I could not sleep was Mile High by Liz Tom Ford. I am not very far in this at all. I think I'm like 20 or 25 pages in. I currently hate the male main character, but I know that that's going to change, of course. I know people don't love this series for nothing. I have heard that people say that the first book is kind of, tough to get through. It's not their favorite. I'm really not worried about it. I'm sure I'm going to love it. I did just also get the audio through Libby today. So I feel like this will be something that I do try and read over the next week and finish. It's just a series that I've been wanting to get to. And I was like, you know what? Let's not put it off. I couldn't sleep. It's on Kindle Unlimited. I like to read my Kindle at night so I don't wake my husband. And I am really looking forward to getting into this series. And another one that I added that was not on my TBR stack was Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I am still currently finishing this book. I did lose the audio today. I was so sad. I was listening to it and I knew I was going to lose it at like 10:30 this morning. And Libby, because I was reading it, just so you know, Libby was like, hey, do you want to extend for an hour? And then I clicked yes. But then I went back to like search for books and just kind of mosey through the Libby app because I was going to look for Mile High. And then I lost it. So if you are in the middle of a book and it offers to extend for you, just make sure you stay on that page. Don't go back. So sadly, I did not get to listen to another hour, which would have really helped me out today. This is definitely a book that I feel like is taking me a long time to get through, and that I'm not complaining. Like, I'm fine taking my time with it. It is just not one to rush. V.E. Schwab's writing is, I've said this on my last vlog, it's intoxicating. I'm drunk on it. I am drunk on her story. I cannot wait to read more of her books. This is a sapphic vampire book. It spans across 3 different timelines, 3 different characters. I've only just met the 3rd character. I still have about 150 pages to go, so we'll see if I can finish this today. That is the goal, because I also need to finish out another vlog, but I can say nothing bad about this book. I am loving it so much. If you want to hear any more details or watch me reading these books in live time, be sure to go back and watch some of my reading vlogs from September, because that is where you're going to get me reading these books. So I don't want to go into too much detail in them today, because this vlog would then be forever long, and I do want to get to the next portion, which is pulling from the TBR jar. However, before doing that, I do have a couple more books to mention. I did forget after Phantom to say I did end up reading Our Infinite Fates as well at the end of August, and I just simply couldn't even wait till September 1st to pick that up. I think I ate that book up in 2 days. Also now one of my favorite books of the year. Holy crap. I was so into this book that I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was just living in this world, living with these characters. I was so, what is going to happen next? What is going on? And I was so into it that Andrew ended up picking it up. Andrew's my husband, if you're new here, and he also read it in a few days and he absolutely loved it as well. It is a YA fantasy. I'm a YA fan. I don't know if that will ever change, honestly. I just think that there is a beauty and purity to YA writing and YA storytelling, and I think there's always going to be space in my life for it. Of course, that can always change, but that is how I feel right now. And Laura Stevens wrote a gem here. So if you want a good YA fantasy that's super bingeable as well, go pick this one up. And then the last one from my stack that I haven't gotten to, but it will be what I round the month out with. Like I said, I do still have another week, is Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. I am so excited to read this book. It's one of the most beautiful books that I have on my shelf. It is inspired by Dramini fanfics, which I have never read one. I really need to. I have a few downloaded on my Kindle. I've got the good ones. I'm part of a little group on Facebook so I could know like what are the good ones to download and where do I get them. And I have heard really good things from a friend of mine on Instagram about Rose in Chains. So I'm really excited to read this one, and I feel like it's the perfect way to round out the month. Without further ado, let's seriously get into the TBR jar. All right, we have relocated because I want to sit in my big comfy chair while we do this, and I feel like I can give you guys a better look at what I am working with. I do have a TBR cart. These are just books that I really want to get to, hopefully by the end of the year, or just ones that I want to prioritize. I did also go ahead and pull an entire like October stack. These are just books that I look at and I think October, Halloween, spooky, or cozy, like Halloween cozy. witchy cozy. So I wanted to also have those here because it's October, and I feel like for October, November, and December, that's probably going to be the way this goes. Like in November, I'll pull ones that just kind of make me think of Thanksgiving or make me think cozy fall. And then in December, I'll pull ones that make me think of Christmas, of course. Let me show you guys what I have. All right, so this is the TBR cart. There are books on the front and the back. And then I do also have a stack over here as well as my Kindle because I do have books on Kindle Unlimited. So depending on the size of the books that we pull, that will kind of be how I gauge how many books I'm going to put on my TBR. Most likely ranging somewhere between 6 and 9. You saw me pull Wild Reverence. This is my UK copy. She's literally beautiful. I just got her in yesterday. I was absolutely obsessed with Divine Rivals. I loved Rebecca's writing, and I'm so excited to read this. So this is going to be one that I put on my October TBR just because I want to. So this is what we're starting off with. On the back it says, "She was immortal. She was destined to come and go like the cycle of seasons. And what was I? A humble mortal, cursed to age and die. I was rooted to the ground, destined to return to the earth as dust. I could not hold her any more than I could hold the wind, but I loved her for it." Yeah. This is what we're going to start October off with. In my TBR jar, I do not have names of books. I was inspired by Laura over at Laura Reads. If you don't follow her, I always mention her. I'm a huge fan. I love her so much. She's so cute, so sweet. I just love her vibe, and I'm a girl's girl. What can I say? I was inspired by her to do this. This is just like ideas for things to pull. Like maybe it's a color on a cover. Maybe it's a design on a cover. Maybe it's something that's been on your TBR for too long. Maybe it's a genre. Maybe it's something that you've been putting off or something that you're intimidated by. So I feel like that just makes it really, really fun. We'll give it a good shake. Oh my gosh. I literally cannot believe I pulled this one having just said that. And there are a few. I'm looking at Direbound right now. I'm looking at Direbound. It's looking at me. It's looking at me. Look at it. Binding 13 also. And again, they're just big books. The big books are coming for me. They're coming for me. However, I'm also thinking on my Kindle about how I have Manacled. And I know Alchemized just came out, but I cannot read Alchemized until I read Manacled. Like, I cannot. I hear it's like 1,000 pages. Do I go that route? Ooh, you guys. Okay, wait, let me just do a little quick wrap around of the cart and be sure that those are the 3 that I'm going to wind it down to. I will say that I do also feel a bit intimidated by R.F. Kuang. I don't know why. I've never read anything. But I'm thinking, do I want to start with the Poppy War? You know, I don't know. Or Catabasis. I don't know. This is another really stunning copy that I have. Let's see how many pages this is. Y'all, the 500 to 600 page books plague me. This does sound like something I've never read. It's Dante's Inferno meets Susanna Clarke's Piranesi. I think that's how you say it, which I've never read. This is about a woman who really wants to become one of the bright minds in the field of magic. She sacrificed everything to make that a reality: her pride, her love life, her health, even her sanity. Also, she can work with this Professor Jacob Grimes at Cambridge. However, he dies in a magical accident, and it could have been her fault. He is now in hell, and she is going to go in after him. That sounds damn good. This is still a new release, and I feel like it's so hard to keep up with new releases. Let's be real. There's no effing way I'm ever going to be able to keep up with new releases. But I think it's going to come down to this one or Direbound. Since I'm reading Mile High and I'm probably going to continue with that series, I think that I will put off Binding 13 a little bit longer. But I do also have Direbound. This is one by Sable Sorensen that I have also been wanting to pick up. I don't think the second book, Furybound, is going to come out until late next spring or early summer. And so am I rushing? I don't know. Let me see. Let's see if Catabasis is actually a one-off. Okay, Catabasis is a standalone, so that definitely made the decision for me. I feel like a standalone will be a good choice. I will come back to Direbound. All right, we've made our first choice. A book that intimidates me will be Catabasis. Let's pull our second one. A sprayed edge book. This is exciting. I pulled this one last month. I feel like this just gives me a lot of room. I'm looking at my Halloween stack. I have 3 here that have sprayed edges. One of them is The Spell Shop, which I really do need to read. I also have A Study in Drowning and A Harvest of Hearts. I'm just kind of listing them right now. I'll pull the ones that are real contenders. I do have Nightweaver here. This is by R.M. Gray. The second book is pre-ordered and it's coming to me, I think, in November. So this would be a good time to probably read this one. And it has been on my TBR for a while now. This is a book about pirates, and I love me some pirates. I love me some pirates. She marketed it as very like Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's so my vibe. This says 600 years ago, Nightweavers, cursed being the unchecked power, claimed the continents of their own. The ocean was meant to be a safe haven for humanity, including Aster Oberon, she's 17, and her pirate family. But after Aster's brothers killed in an epic battle at sea against the Nightweavers, Aster and her family are thrust into a new life on land. But when a handsome Nightweaver named Will offers the Oberons protection and work at his opulent estate, Aster is suspicious. The arrogant and entitled right hand to the wicked prince, Will is everything that she has been taught to hate. But as he shows empathy and kindness, Aster can't ignore a blooming attraction. This one's been on my TBR for a while. I will say I also have Immortal Consequences and a Forbidden Alchemy, which I both know are going to be good, but I feel like those can be good contenders for November. Let's go with Nightweaver because I want to be prepared for the one to come out in November, and I feel like this will also just double whammy and check off something that's been on my TBR for just a little bit too long. 3 down, maybe 5 more to go, maybe. Historical fiction. Okay. Ooh, this is good. This can really break some of this stuff up. Historical fiction. I don't even know if I have anything on my cart. Okay, y'all, I've just done some Googling. I have the perfect one. I have the perfect October historical fiction. It's dark, it's gothic. 1 second, because I gotta pull it from the bottom of this Halloween stack. All right, you ready? Anatomy of a Love Story. This is by Dana Schwartz. This has also been on my TBR for a little while. This sounds insane. It's a murder mystery. It's suspenseful. Hazel Sinnett is a lady who wants to be a surgeon more than she wants to marry. Jack Kerr is a body snatcher who's just trying to survive in a city where it's easy to die. This is a gothic romance and a mystery as Hazel and Jack work together to uncover the secrets buried not just in unmarked graves, but in the very heart of Edinburgh society. Yeah, this is October. This is good. There's my historical fiction. All right, 4 down. Let's pull 4 more. 4 feels good. The oldest book on my TBR. Wow, another one of the examples that I gave you guys. We may have to go to the main shelf outside in the living room for this. I don't know, but also I'm thinking I do have one here that has been on my TBR just a little bit too long, and honestly, I need to just be done putting it off. I need to be done putting it off. Okay, wait. Now I'm having second thoughts. Hold on. This is the one I was originally thinking. Has this in fact been on my TBR too long? Yes. This is probably one of the first series books that I picked up just because I heard so much about it and it's such a beautiful series. I have the entire series on my shelf. Literally, a new book comes out, I pick it up as if I'm like, ooh, on to the next. I've read it. Haven't even read it, but I trust that I'm gonna love it. Do I go down Peyton and Kai's adventure? Or I do also have Bride by Ali Hazelwood here in this stack. It's at the very bottom for my Halloween stuff. And honestly, I bought this. Now it's not the oldest on my TBR. I don't know if it's the oldest on my TBR though. It has been on there since it came out. I got it when it came out. I think that was what, last fall or last end of summer or something. I feel like in order to check the box of like the oldest book on my TBR, it would have to be Powerless. It would have to be. Yeah, I feel like I'd feel guilty if I picked Bride because I don't think that's been on there the longest. It definitely hasn't. We're gonna do Powerless. We're gonna do Powerless. This is exciting. So many good ones. So much fantasy. We have 5. Let's pick 3 more. A person's name in the title. Okay, this is good. Let's find something from the, let's find something from the Halloween stack. None of these have the person's name in the title. Oh, that's a bummer. I don't even know if I have anything that has a person's name. We might have to pull something else. All right, that is a hard one. I'm gonna re-pull just because I do want to give the Halloween stack a fair shot. I'll keep that one out of the jar. I don't actually have a prompt in here that says something spooky or something scary because I don't read horror. I'm really hoping to get a couple of these out of this stack. So let's try again. Is that cheating? I don't know. It's my video. I don't know. We're gonna re-pull. I'm nervous. Ooh, this is a good one. There's a few in this stack. I have Bride, I have An Education in Malice, and A Far Wilder Magic. I also have Dreadful. Those are books that I've been putting off. I'm going to just flip you over So I've definitely been putting off Bride, An Education of Malice by S.T. Gibson, A Far Wilder Magic, and Dreadful. So let's pull one of those. I've just been reading the backs while I charged my camera for a minute. And honestly, An Education of Malice is like, sounds really good. And I've been really wanting to read something by S.T. Gibson, but Bride is giving Halloween. I was supposed to read this last October. It's giving Halloween, so let's go with Bride by Ali Hazelwood. It's vampires. It sounds really fun, so she is the winner. All right, 2 more to go. Ooh, continue a series. Okay, this is perfect. I'm going to continue Mile High by Liz Tomford. So I will add the second book in, which I believe is Play Along. All of these are on Kindle Unlimited, so that's how I will be reading those. So that'll be my Kindle book and my continue a series. 7 down, 1 more to go. I'm literally nervous for this one. Keep my eyes closed. A fantasy book that you've been putting off. Woohoo! Okay, now I have some really good ones that are kind of not necessarily making me think of October and Halloween. And so I do want to pick one that is giving October Halloween witchy vibes. Let me show you guys what I have in the stack. I actually don't even know if you can see with the light, but I am thinking of going for the Spell Shop or An Education in Malice. I kind of also want to have like a nice variety. So this is a tough one. Do I read a one off or do I read the Spell Shop? Because the Spell Shop's another one that just keeps like staring at me. I hear really good things, and also I have the second book, and it's just one of those that like I picked up the second book without even having read the first one. Let me pause the camera and give this a good think. Okay, let's go with The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is just cozy, cottagecore, witchy, definitely, I feel like just Halloween vibey in like the coziest way. And I don't have anything cozy on the stack right now. So I feel good about this choice. Okay, that is 8 books. We have The Spell Shop, Bride, Powerless, Anatomy of a Love Story, Nightweaver, Catabasis, Wild Reference, and Play Along by Liz Tomford on my Kindle. So that is 8. However, let's do a surprise book, and not from the TBR jar. I'm realizing you guys are shorter now, but I've been moving the camera to charge it, so bear with me, okay? Bear with me. But we're gonna pull one more that is giving so Halloween. I actually have 2. I have Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair, and if I can, I'm honestly tempted to pull them both and see if I can get to them. I have some really good spooky ones. Now I'm like looking at Don't Let the Forest In and Immortal Dark. I'm definitely gonna pull Immortal Dark. I wanna read that one. I might keep Terror at the Gates and Don't Let the Forest In as like some backups, but let's pull Immortal Dark. All right, this feels good. This is by Tigest Garma. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I know that this is one a lot of people are talking about right now. This one is just supposed to be really, really good, super spooky. Am I scaring you? His voice rumbled like mountain rocks. Do you want to leave? It's a good quote on the back. A lost heiress, a soulless vampire, and a secret drenched in blood. Yeah. Let's add this one, and hopefully this will be like a good bonus book. Honorable mentions, if I do have time this month, I will get to these, or if I do like another 24-hour readathon, I will prioritize these. This is Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair, and Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. These also just sound like the perfect Halloween books if you're looking for any inspo. So I'm going to keep these in mind and put them in the stack. If I get to them, great, but they're not going to be like the 9 priority. All right, we have our stack and it is perfect. I'm so excited. It is like a really good October TBR. I feel very, very good about it. Still intimidated by Catabasis, but I'm excited to update you guys at the end of the month and see how all of this went. Will I get to everything? I don't know. I just love these little TBR jar videos. They're so fun. I do hope that you enjoyed it as well. I hope that you also have some really good books that you plan to read in October. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.